Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Los Alamitos Race Course here on this Thursday afternoon during the Los Angeles County Fair season at Los Alamitos. I'm Ed Burgart, the nighttime track announcer, the daytime simulcast host, along with Kurt Hoover today. Very windy afternoon. I hope Vinnie Bednar and I don't get blown away up here. The wind's blowing pretty strong, but it's still overcast, track conditions fast. Looking for a great afternoon of thoroughbred racing here at Los Alamitos. Again, this is our final week of the Los Angeles County Fair season. We'll race Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Flavian Pratt coming over to ride in our Barrett's Juvenile here on Saturday on Runaway, who is third in the Del Mar Futurity. So certainly we have a great weekend of racing coming up at Los Alamitos. But glad to be able to have a guest that I call his races nightly here. He's turned into one of our most consistent thoroughbred riders, Vinnie Bednar, who's really developed into his own this year. And Vinnie, you're having a spectacular nighttime season. Just tell us about your progress.
Well, thanks again for having me. And no, I mean, just staying consistent, working hard, and showing up. And I got a good agent that's put me on some solid horses, and just everything's been working out. And luckily, we've been having somewhat of a pretty healthy career. I had one injury a little while back there, but I mean, other than that, been just keeping it healthy and just keep showing up.
Okay, well, his agent's Neil Bricks, so we got to at least give him credit, although sometimes when we mention his name, I get a little bit nervous, but still, he does a great job. And Vinnie's our second leading rider, I think, in the thoroughbred standings right now, or close to being leading rider. Juan Sanchez was out with an injury. But Vinnie, tell us about your career, how you got started as a jockey, and how things have progressed for you.
Well, I grew up racing dirt bikes from the time I was like 3 to about 16, 17, and then I got a job at a Christmas tree lot in December of high school. And the owner of the lot, he owned horses as well, and he told me, "You're wasting your time here, kid. You got to go be a jockey." And kind of introduced me to some people, and introduced me to Jeff Metz and Vladimir Seren, and Jeff kind of taught me how to start galloping. And from there, he sent me to Frank Garza's jockey school, and went to Frank's for a couple months, got my galloping license, and then just kind of started from there.
Well, I remember following you, I think it was Santa Anita, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm off a little bit. You started riding over there, and you've come into Los Alamitos. What did you learn from riding against people like, like the top riders they have over there, Bejarano, Pratt, those type of jockeys?
I learned a lot of patience, and really, like, every move has to count, and it's not like riding a dirt bike. It's, you don't have a throttle. It's like a horse is a real one pace, one move thing. And my biggest thing starting out, I was just a racer, and I was, if I got to move here, I can move here, and then if I got to move there, I can move there. It's like, no, you just really got to be calculated. And that's really the main thing I took away from riding with the big guys, is just be calculated and patient and really think everything through.
Well, I think Los Alamitos has provided a good opportunity at nighttime with the thoroughbred races, because it's so tough to get mounts against those type of jockeys. But you're developing into your own right now. Do you still have the goal, maybe, you'd like to progress and go back over to the big tracks?
I mean, that's definitely the dream, to get back over to the big track. I mean, you have to be crazy not to want to make it there. But, yeah, if the opportunity presented itself, I'd be more than willing to hop on into it. I mean, it's definitely been in the back of my mind. I mean, especially when this meet comes to the Los Alamitos and you're riding with these guys. And even if you're riding some decent races and it shows that you can ride with them, I mean, it's definitely something I want to look into and make it happen.
You've turned into like a 20% rider at nighttime right now, and I know each year it seems like you get better and better. How do you account for your great progress? I mean, what you're doing differently now than maybe you did a couple years ago?
Just showing up. I mean, I'm working 7 days a week. I got a real good galloping job working for Baffert, so I'm being seen out here in the mornings, and working with Marlowe and all of them and getting on those good horses has really fine-tuned me, like to say. Like, I've really learned a lot working for them, and just being consistent and having a lot of great opportunities to ride some decent horses here at night, and just trying to make as minimal mistakes as possible.
Well, obviously working horses for somebody like Bob Baffert, that's a testament that you're doing things the right way. What's it like working for somebody like Bob?
It's really an honor. I mean, you get on the best horses in the world every morning, galloping, working, breezing, and it's like them good horses make you into a good rider.
Now, of course, you're riding the daytime and the nighttime right now, and there's obviously a difference. A lot of people don't know that the nighttime surface, we have a 5/8 mile track. During the daytime, it's a mile track. So tell us the difference in riding styles between the day and night.
Well, riding the daytime here, you got a lot longer stretch. So, I mean, you got to really save a lot for the end. As in the night racing with the 5/8 track, it's really just a lot of get to the turn and get around there. And I mean, it's just a lot more go at night, and then during the day races, it's a lot more calculated and patient.
Now, obviously, you're working horses during the daytime over the mile track. Nighttime, you ride over the 5/8 mile track. So you're pretty well accustomed to the difference in the riding styles. But was it hard at first to adapt to the mile track, when the horses come to the head of the stretch at nighttime, you got an eighth of a mile to the finish. During the daytime, you have more than a quarter mile.
Yeah, yes, sir. You definitely feel the difference when you're riding the nighttime horses compared to the daytime horses. They also know the difference between the tracks, too. They see that 5/8 turn coming up, and some of them kind of think they want to duck on in there, but, you know.
I know one of the biggest handicapping questions I have from people are horses that run at Los Alamitos at nighttime. Will those horses run as well during the daytime on the longer track? So can you pretty much have an idea of which horses are going to run better on the mile track compared to the 5/8?
Yeah, you definitely got an idea, and I think the biggest asset for those night horses coming in is that this is their home track. You know, they don't got to ship anywhere. They're right here in their own backyard, and they track over this track every day. You know, so I mean, the nerves will be a little bit more calmed, hopefully. You know, and a little more collected. You know.
I got to think certain horses that can handle the turn at nighttime better than others might not run as well during the daytime. Do you have a feel for the type of horse that'll take to the mile track more than the 5/8?
Yeah, you definitely get a feel for them, but then again, that's why you got to get out here in the mornings and get on them and get them around both turns and like work with them a little bit, and so you get a better feel for them. It's always hard to predict what they're going to do, but I mean, the better understanding you have of what's going on is always beneficial to yourself.
We're here with Vinnie Bednar, 25 years old. He's our second leading rider at night. He's had 45 wins during the thoroughbred season. You also ride some quarter horses now, periodically. What were your thoughts about going from riding a thoroughbred to a horse 300, 350 yards?
It's a rush. It's really insane. You think these horses here at night break fast, go in the 4.5s, but then once you get in the 350s and those quarter horses, they just drop and go. I mean, the race is over before you even blink.
Well, I know one of the quarter horses you rode that really surprised me how well she ran going 550 yards is Ms. Lugene. You've had great success with Keith Craigmile with her around the turn and down at Del Mar as well, but what was it like riding her going 550?
Well, that's my favorite horse right there. I mean, she's so versatile. I mean, Keith's really good at putting her at any spot. In every spot, she always runs well, always hits the board, always runs really well, and it just shows you. I mean, we won going 5 furlongs on the turf at Del Mar with her, and then drop her in here at 550, and she runs second going against quarter horses. I mean, like I said, she's just an amazing mare.
Last time, unfortunately, you had the rail. I remember that race.
Yeah.
That, I think Bound to Bet was on the outside that Gary Vogue rode. He was able to get a big jump on you, but your horse come running on the end of it, and she'd only had 5 days rest, so you got to be pretty impressed.
Yes, sir. Very impressed. Yeah, like I said, she's an insane mare. She's awesome.
Okay, well, Ms. Lugene's one of his favorite, if not favorite, horses. And how did you and Keith Craigmile hook up together?
Just showing up out here in the mornings, getting to know him. He's a really good guy on and off the track, and he's just really he's been one of the guys that actually put me in the right direction, and he's one of the reasons why I'm riding so well today. I mean, he's really helped me out a lot, and he's just always giving me a shot on some of his really good horses, you know. So, I mean, he's a good friend and a good business guy.
Well, Vinnie Bednar certainly had his mind on business here the past couple of years. It's showing in the results right now, and you're riding, I believe, 5 horses today, maybe 6 now, if I...
Yeah, 6 now. We just picked up the one.
So he's got a very busy afternoon. Of course, I'm not going to have Vinnie handicap the races, but we do have to ask Vinnie about the horses he's riding. So you ride a horse in the first race called the Sleepy Prince that you've been on, I think, one time before. Going with the blinkers on, is that going to help?
Well, I think you get him a little bit more focused. I mean, I think we run 4th. It was the last time we run him here. I mean, I'm thinking like we ran a pretty good race on him last time. I just hope we're a little bit more collected today and just show a little bit more down the stretch.
Okay, well, that's one of the long shots he's on. I think he's on a couple live horses later on. We'll talk about that, but we'll go to race number 2. You're riding a horse called Wonder over Yonder that you've never been on before. Now, when you haven't ridden a horse before, what do you have to do to get the horse to feel comfortable for you?
We really just got to listen to what the trainer's going to tell you to do. I mean, if you haven't been on him before, he's going to give you the best shot. But filling him out in post-parade, you can get a feel for him most of the time. You're going to feel if they're ready to leave the gate or not, and just try and get a feel for him best you can in post-parade, I guess.
What do you try to get out of a horse in the warm-ups? I know each jockey warms up a horse differently, but I noticed a lot of times you'll take a horse out a little bit early. Are you trying just to get a feel of how the horse is going to handle the track?
Yeah, I get a feel for him, and some of them settle down a little bit better when they're on their own. If you can get some nice relaxing hands on them and just kind of settle them on your own a little better and get them away from the rest of the horses, get them to calm down. Okay, well, a lot of us like to watch the horses warm up, so I always pay attention to you. 'Cause at nighttime, you're on a lot of the favorites, so Yes,
we got to really keep a close attention on Vinnie Bednar at night, but he's doing very well during the daytime as well. As you can see, these papers are blowing around, so it's a little bit windy. And how does the wind affect a horse, and how does it affect the riders out there?
Well, if you had a nice headwind down the or a tailwind down the stretch, it always helps you coast home a little easier. But I mean, I don't really see it affecting it too much.
It doesn't rattle the horses or anything, some of these horses?
As long as you don't got any debris or anything flying onto the track, I think we're going to be all right.
Okay, you picked up a mount in the 3rd race. Unfortunately, we hate to see any rider get hurt, but Laura Warner thinks she had her shoulder operated on, or her collarbone. Was it?
Yeah, I believe it was a shoulder.
It was her shoulder that she had apparently dislocated last Sunday when a horse stumbled in race number 3 and unseated at the start. I think it was either Saturday or Sunday. You picked up Pride of My Heart here. You've not been on this horse before. You've seen this horse run. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I think won with her here in the day meet last meet, and then running 870 here at night. So I'm assuming it's going to have a little bit of speed coming out of the gate. So I mean, just get out, get a good position, and save something for the end is really the goal.
Okay, that's one of the probably a horse that definitely has a shot just off the running lines, running 4th last time out against Sweetwater Gal, and Vinnie Bednar has picked up the mount on Part of My Heart in race number 3. Now you're on a first-time starter that I have yet to do any research on as far as the breeding in race number 4 called Derby Factor. So I assume you've been working this horse in the morning?
I have not been on him in the morning here, but I did look at the works and I have talked to the trainer about it a little bit. And I mean, the works are pretty solid. So I mean, first-time starters, you really never know what you're going to get out there, but just hope for a nice, safe trip without any mistakes.
Now, did the trainer tell you anything in particular about this horse? Do you had any idiosyncrasies you might have to figure out, or?
Not yet, but I'm sure he's gonna.
So, when you get down to the paddock.
Yes, sir.
A lot of times the riders won't listen anyway, but I know that they're supposed to. But what happens when a trainer tells you, I want you to go to the front, and the horse doesn't break? Or do you try to rush the horse up then, or do you just try to use your own common sense?
Well, I think your own common sense would have to come in at that point. I mean, as much as you want or have a game plan going into the gate, once they open, I mean, things change all the time. So I mean, that's why you got to have your rider on him and know that your rider could be capable of making decisions when it comes down to it.
I think most trainers will trust the rider if something happens that it's not planned when it comes out of the gate, and Vinnie's really adapted well here. I know that I've been very impressed at nighttime on a couple horses that haven't broken for you, and you don't get rushing them up like maybe you did 2 or 3 years ago, so I guess that comes with experience.
Definitely matured up and gotten a lot more experience. And like I said, I got Keith and Marlowe and a couple other guys behind me, and they're all really just helping fine-tune all my skills and making me into a good rider.
I know one of the horses you rode, you're not riding the horse back this weekend, but it really caught my eye at nighttime was Royal Red. The time you won, and we were able to get the horse over to the rail, and
Yes,
when everybody else kind of went wide on the turn, so obviously wins like that, I got to build up your confidence.
Yeah, that's the thing about riding this 5/8 track on the bull ring. You really got to learn how to make that turn and know what horses don't make it so well, so that if they do come off the rail just a little bit, you can get on in there and take advantage of it.
Okay, we'll go on to race number 5 now, and this might be one of your best chances, I'm thinking, on the program today, Dixie Rebel. And I went back on some of the workout reports before the horse's debut, and I heard you probably worked this horse,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
assuming. So that workout back on August the 19th, heard the horse really showed a lot of speed. Do you recall what you did with the horse in that work?
I'm not sure if we had the blinkers on or not in the morning there, but I mean, it was real keen.
And of course, you ran first time out for maiden $50,000. This field's only maiden 20, but you ran against a really solid field, Trickonomics, in that. What did the horse tell you out of that race, or what did you learn from riding Dixie Rebel?
Well, I mean, we saved a lot of ground and run a really solid race, and you know, you're just always hoping that they improve off it a little bit more.
Of course, the horse dropping in for maiden $20,000 today, so I would think
That always helps too.
that should help. That was a strong maiden 50 field. A lot of times the maiden 50s don't come up that strong, but Trickonomics, I think, was from the Jeff Bondi barn that was dropping out
Yes,
of the
sir.
straight maiden ranks. So those horses were much, much tougher. So when Kurt Hoover and I are down in the paddock later on, we'll be able to talk more about that horse, because I will not put Vinnie Bednar on the spot to tell us that that horse will win, because
I appreciate that.
I just don't want to put the pressure on Vinnie, because I know he's out to win some races here today. I think your final,
Isn't it 8th?
the final mount
Yes, sir.
comes in race number 8. And that's going to be on a horse called Warren's Cole. And you've been on this horse several times before. And I've always felt that Warren's Cole, with his style of running, the nighttime track doesn't suit him as much as the daytime.
I agree, sir. I mean, he's got some early speed, but he really does like to come running on a little late. I think this longer stretch and the longer distance is really going to really help us out.
So I would think Warren's Cole's one of your good chances today
Yes,
as
sir.
well. So Vinnie Bednar riding 5 horses today. You can see Vinnie ride here at nighttime as well in the 5/8 mile track. And I know you've got a great future as far as a rider, and I think Neil Briggs has done a good job for you, and I look forward to seeing Vinnie in many more times in the winner's circle.
I appreciate it. Thank you very
Best of luck
much.
to Vinnie Bednar to have him here at our seminar. And one other note before we sign off and go up to Bobby Newman for the changes, we've got a mistake in our program as far as an ad goes for our handicapping tournament here on Saturday. It's a live money contest, $500 to enter, $400 wagering card, and you have to select 4 Los Alamitos races with a $100 minimum wager per race. So that's going to be our handicapping contest, and we'll talk more about that later on when Kurt Hoover and I are down in the paddock. So again, we thank Vinnie Bednar. We'll go up to Bobby Newman here in just a few moments for the changes for today's races.